Just go tee all that. Yeah. Astronaut choir. So I'm in here tonight because of a number of different things. We've already passed the halfway point of the season, but I got some people in here. I got people filing in. I think that's dope. Uh, get everybody in here filing in, which is dope. Let everybody show up. Mm-hmm. Get everybody in here filing in. So dope. Getting set up. Let everybody file in. So we coming up on, today is the 23rd, right? So we coming up on the trade deadline. What up, Andre? How you doing, brother? What's going on? What up, Zay? Alden, what up, brother? Chubbs, what up with you? Darion disagrees with something that I said. What else is new, my man? You ain't in the minority. I'm actually watching the Celtics Orlando game right now, since you brought that up. What up, Andre? How you doing, brother? Around the NBA podcast. What's up, brother? What up, Keyshawn? Henry, what up? He definitely did outplay Steph Curry last night. What up, Zay? How about them Cowboys? What's new? Ticket was up here before. Yeah. I was just over his house. I was just in his building a couple of days ago. Oh. So I want to start the conversation tonight with what I saw last night with the Los Angeles Lakers and how they got off to a slow start. And not only did they get off to a slow start, they got basically blown out in the third quarter. And they got blown out in the third quarter because second quarter, I'm sorry, not the third quarter. The second quarter, they got blown out. And the reason why they got blown out was because they reverted back to everything that was wrong with their unit. They got into an up and down game with Portland. Not only did they get into an up and down game with Portland, they had no half court. They had no half court offense. They weren't rebounding the ball. Not only were they not rebounding the ball, Portland basically got whatever they want. They were not playing defense, and they just looked like a bad unit overall. James was shooting bad. Thomas Bryant wasn't rebounding. They just looked bad. And then it turned around in the third quarter because, number one, the game slowed down. And the game slowed down. And the game slowed down. When the game slowed down, guys like Thomas Bryant, who I was not aware that Thomas Bryant was a long ball shooter. But the fact that he was able to shoot the long ball the way he did was pretty impressive, because what that did was that exposed the weakness that the Trailblazers have had the entire season. And that is they don't have any rim protection. What they've done all season is they've masked that with gang rebounding, and they're small. So you got dirty work guys like Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant. You got guys like that, and Nurkic. You got guys like that make it look like they got rim protection, but they don't. So when they run up on teams that are bigger than them, and not only when they run up on teams that are bigger than them, when they run up on teams that are bigger than them that defend, they had trouble. When they have teams that are bigger than them that defend and teams that go downhill like the Lakers did, they're in trouble because these teams get whatever they want. So when I'm watching the Lakers in the second half with Thomas Bryant cracking the long ball, now that opens up Portland's defense and it stretches their defense. So now you get a lot of stuff going to the basket, which is what the Lakers did. And they were able to exploit the weakness that the Lakers had, which was the Trailblazers had, which is not having a legit rim protector. So that's always been a problem for them all season long. And it's going to continue to be a problem with them. They have not remedied that. And I said before the season started, I thought the Trailblazers were a play-in team. If the season ended today, they don't make the playoffs. So this is nothing new. I really dig what Simons is becoming. No doubt about that. I dig what Simons is becoming. We all know who Dame is. And Dame is actually playing himself, which I thought was going to happen. Dame was going to play himself back into the top 10. And he's actually slowly doing that, playing himself back into the top 10. So I enjoyed watching the Lakers fight last night and come back and do what they did, because looking on earlier, they just didn't look like the unit. They just didn't look like a good team. Now, if they can get Anthony Davis healthy and get him to play down the stretch and add in Rui, who Washington was using him all wrong. Washington used him completely wrong. And not only did Washington use him wrong, they were wasting him in addition to using him wrong offensively. They had this dude setting screens. They didn't utilize him in transition nearly as much as they could have or they should have. And the reason why they didn't do that was because they didn't have a distributor like James. So when the game speeds up, Rui is a great transition player. One of the better transition players in the game once he's available, especially coming off the bench. And I think that's going to get enhanced playing with James. So he's also a really good athlete, which means that in that system with the Lakers, they need not only a good athlete, but they need a guy who can defend. And he can defend the 4 and the 5. He can also defend the 3 too, but he can defend the 4 and the 5. And I can't leave out the idea that, he's of Japanese descent. So going to Los Angeles and having him be closer to home, that matters. That definitely matters for him. So him being in a different system and him being closer to home, I think that's going to help him out. I think that's going to help him a lot. No doubt about that. I really like that trade. Plus, he's still in his Rook deal too, which means he comes cheap. Still on his Rook deal, which means he comes cheap. And because he comes cheap, the Lakers also have the ability to make other moves, because they didn't really have to give up that much for him. So I think that Rui is a real good addition to them. He's got a really good mid-range game. I just think I didn't think Washington was using him correctly. When I watched him, I don't think that they were using him the way that they should have been using him. So, for example, the lead guard that they have, when he's grabbing the ball off the backboard and he's going with it, they were almost using him like the Knicks use Obi Toppin. And I'm thinking to myself, he's better than Obi Toppin. No doubt about that. I think he's better than Obi Toppin. And I think he's just as good an athlete as Obi Toppin and a better defender. So I'm thinking to myself, why aren't you guys utilizing him in transition more? Right? Why aren't you guys utilizing him in transition more? Because if you did, I think that you would be more efficient offensively. So I think he's better than him. So I think he was definitely better than him. And I just didn't think that they used him correctly. I think if they used him correctly, like the Lakers are going to use him, they would be so much better. No doubt about that. So I can't forget to mention that I watched that Warriors game last night between the Warriors and the Brooklyn Nets, and everybody talks about how Kyrie Irving basically outplayed Steph Curry, which he did, even though When you score more points than somebody, that doesn't necessarily mean you outplay them. Just because you score more points than them, that doesn't mean that. What happened last night with the Brooklyn Nets was they kicked Golden State's ass on the backboard. That was the difference. The Golden State Warriors had that game won, and I think that they got out-coached. I think that they got out-coached. Well, OG, what do you mean they got out-coached? When Steve Kerr went to that small lineup where he went Steph, Clay, Wiggins, he went Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, and who am I thinking of? And Kuminga, without a big in there. They just got destroyed on the backboard. And there was really nothing that when he took Poole out, because Poole was also a bucket of extra crispy too. But Claxton was basically feasting on the backboard. They got a bunch of second chance points. And not only did they get second chance points, they looked lost defensively in transition. I thought Golden State's transition defense was garbage last night. I do. I think that their transition defense was terrible. And because their defense was terrible, I think that a lot of that, because of their defense was terrible, Brooklyn capitalized on that. No doubt about that, they capitalized on that. So I thought that was a big deal for them. I did. I wasn't sure watching that game how Brooklyn would respond, because they looked like they had that, because Golden State looked like they had that game in the bag last night. They did. They looked like they had that game in the bag. And because they looked like they had it in the bag, I almost stopped paying attention. Right? And they just began to get going last night, right? They just began to get going last night, and then next thing you know, forget it. It was a wrap. It was an absolute wrap. So I thought Claxton was, like I said, I thought Claxton was really good. Really good. So I think he was the difference in that game last night. You talk about, Draymond had 11 rebounds. Yeah, Claxton had, and Claxton had 15 boards, and 5 of those 15 rebounds came in the fourth quarter. 5 of those 15 boards he had came in the fourth period last night. Came off giving them second chance points, right? Not only giving them second chance points, also holding Golden State to one shot. That was a big deal last night. So that's where I'm at with that. That's where I'm at with that. I see how much Brooklyn needs KD, because as good as they are, they still missing that one thing. And that one thing that they're missing is Kevin Durant. Now, how far are they going to go in the playoffs? How far are they going to go in the playoffs? That still remains to be seen. But I like what I saw from them last night. I like the fight that they put up. Royce O'Neal is quietly making noise, if that makes any sense. He's definitely stirring it up. Like I didn't think that, because I watched him in Utah and I wasn't that impressed with him. But on that unit, he gets a lot of open looks. That's because Kyrie Irving. That's because Kevin Durant, when he was on the unit, those guys, they garner so much attention. Now, I still think that the Brooklyn Nets, if we relying solely on Claxton, I think that's going to be a problem moving forward. And the reason why I think that's going to be a problem moving forward, because you're going to run into big teams in the East, like Giannis, like Embiid, right? Like Cleveland. You're going to run into bigger teams in the East. But I think Claxton I think he's a stopgap for the big man that you really need. And I don't think, like I said, I'm still not in on Brooklyn, because I've already said how I feel about them. What they do in the regular season doesn't matter to me. And the reason why it doesn't matter is because the reason why Kevin Durant got on this roster, was to win. So what happens in the regular season going forward, I had them as a playing team, to be honest. I think they're in fourth place right now. And I don't know when they're getting KD back. But I don't know when they're getting KD back. They said this was a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see. We'll see when that happens. But I'm still out on Brooklyn. I'm not there yet. But that was an impressive win last night. No doubt about that. That was an impressive win last night. So That was definitely an impressive win last night. I appreciated that. I definitely did. So, the question, Stein, is what is Kyle Lowry's value? I mean, the good thing about Lowry is he's on an expiring contract. That's the good thing, right? That's the plus side, that he is on an expiring contract. So because he's on an expiring contract, he's going to be easy to move. Excuse me for a second. I thought I turned the phone off. I'm sorry. I thought I turned the phone off. I apologize. So he's on an expiring contract. So because he's on an expiring contract, that makes him attractive because that's a salary dump for a lot of teams. So his game, on the other hand, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it translates to another team as opposed to him. So I'm interested. That is not them, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I'm still worried about Ben Simmons, still. Because offensively, he looks like he's taking a step back. And I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know how to remedy that. So I got a call on line one. Hold on, guys.
What up, OG?
What up?
I have one quick question for you. What are your thoughts on the 2011 draft class?
The 2011 draft class. That's Kyrie Irving,
Kawhi, Clay,
Leonard, Thompson. Who else was in that draft? That was
Tobias, Kemba.
Yeah, that was a pretty good draft class. Yeah, that was a damn good draft class. No doubt about that.
One thing I always somewhat be thinking, like, they're a little bit more panned out than the 2010 draft class. But in terms of like injuries, longevity, stuff like that, I feel like that's like the most unfortunate draft classes of all time. Right?
2010.
Yeah, with Boogie, PG. I got the list right here. Boogie, PG, John Wall, Hayward, Bledsoe, Whiteside. Right. But like 2011, like I feel like, say we got to see more of Kawhi, we got to see more of IT, Kemba, like healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this could go down as like a top 5, top 7 draft class of all time.
I don't know about top 5, but I mean, if I remember correctly, who was in that draft class? Like you said, Clay was in that class. Kemba was in that class.
Jimmy as well.
Who was it? That's right. Jimmy Butler was in that class. That's correct. I want to say Valanciunas was in that class too.
He was too. Same with Reggie Jackson.
Valanciunas was in that class too. So I mean, we did get, and even though he's still playing at a high level, I mean, we got, if I'm not mistaken, we got like 5 or 6 years of Leonard at his peak. I mean, we did get some good years out of him. So Paul George showed up the year. Did Paul George show up the year before Leonard? He showed up the year before. I got you. But Valanciunas, absolutely. Kemba started to break down like a year after he got to Boston, but he had some good seasons in Charlotte. But if you look at Kemba, right, from where he was picked, you know, is that 2011 draft better than that 16 draft with Donovan Mitchell? Is it better than that 2013 draft?
I think it's better than 2013. I think it's better than 2013. 2013 was Giannis and Gobert's draft class, right?
Yeah, Giannis, Gobert.
I think in terms of top, honestly, I'll say it's better, mainly because I feel like the draft's more deep than the 2013. Like, you got CJ, you got Vic, you got Giannis and Rudy, and the rest are just maybe B-tier role players at best.
Right.
We got a couple like all NBA player guys. Isaiah Thomas had an MVP caliber season before he got injured, right?
That was in 2011, right? Yeah, he had that one. He had that 1 year. So yeah, you may have something with that. You may have something with that 2011 draft. I don't know about top 5, but I definitely think that they had some really good players. So no doubt.
Anyway, man, that's all I got for you today.
All right, brother. You know where to find me at.
Hey, OG. How's it going?
What up?
I was just wondering, in the NBA today, do you feel like there's any player right now that could be like the next Barkley or Patrick Ewing, where they're exceptional, but they just never win a championship? This is whether it's management or players around them or just luck. I just feel like Luka could be in that category, where he's exceptional, but because of the fact that he's just him, he might not have pieces to get him to the final place that he wants to go.
That's kind of how I feel about Embiid, because
Yeah.
Embiid is playing in a big man era where his counterpart in Joker, his counterpart in Giannis, guys like that, not only are they doing work, but they've also gone further than him. So he might be one of those guys that gets caught in that era. So like I think about Doc got caught up in the Bird and Magic era. Malone, Barkley, Peyton, Drexler, they all got caught in the Jordan era, right?
Yeah.
Shaq and Kobe, or Tim Duncan almost got caught up in the Shaq and Kobe era. If they didn't break up, we might be having a different conversation, right?
Yeah.
So
Embiid definitely, yeah.
Embiid may be that guy, considering even though what he's doing is awesome, but he may very well be that guy that might be the odd man out. I'm not sure.
What about Luka? Do you think Luka could be in that? Because I'm thinking like Embiid definitely make a good point with that, but as skilled as Luka is, I don't feel like he has enough pieces around him at this point. I mean, if things change, they change, but I just feel like he's the one man show, and if it stays for the next 4 or 5 years, I just be like, damn.
Well, you got to remember how Dallas is. Dallas did the same thing with Dirk. If you remember how they built that unit around him. I mean, they didn't build that unit around him with a bunch of different stars. They built that unit around him with Josh Howard and Jerry Stackhouse and who am I thinking about? The kid from Wisconsin, Eric Dampier. They're building guys like that around him, and he's taking these crews to the NBA Finals. And then they're making trades for Sean Marion, who's on the other side of who he used to be, and Jason Terry. So it wasn't like Dirk had guys like that his whole career neither. So that's who Dallas is notorious. Dallas is notorious for doing that and building guys around Luka's skill set. The $1 million question with Luka is, can Luka hold up? That's going to be the $1 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can see the usage rate with him, and I can see how they use him. They're using him as the man, no doubt about that. I can get with that logic. They are using him out too. But the question is, can he get enough pieces? I don't think he needs stars.
He needs dirty work guys. He needs guys that'll get in there, get it for him, get it to him. Yeah.
And maybe and another guy that he can just go to for buckets.
Yeah.
And that offense needs to change too, where it can't just be him pounding the basketball all the time, because that's not difficult to guard, especially when you get to the playoffs.
It's a target on him too, because if he's the primary guy with the ball, well,
he's
gonna keep getting pummeled, and then these careers quicker. So I was just curious because there's not you wouldn't think there's so many stars. You wouldn't think, everyone's gonna get a ring, but it's like I feel like there's 2 or 3 players in there that just might be the next Barkley or the next Ewing, where they're exceptional, but they just ran into some bad luck of some sort, where there's, like you said, a timepiece era where there's not a big guys or whatever.
Yeah, it happens. Yes, it does. It absolutely happens, Liam. So, all right, brother, good to talk to you.
Right. Good seeing you.
Yo, D, man.
What up?
We gotta talk.
What we gotta talk about?
No. It's nothing you said or did. We gotta talk about this Mavericks, which y'all just talking about. OG, I just watched the Clippers beat them again. Now I know you probably like another win. OG, I just watched Luka drop 43, 11, and 7, lose by double digits once again. You know what this tells me, OG? This tells me no matter how much time Kawhi and PG out the lineup, the Clippers own them boys, and that's bad. There should be no reason you still losing to the same team.
They better than them. The Clippers are better than them. No doubt about that. The Clippers are better than them.
In and out the lineup.
Yeah, the Clippers are better than them. Well, you got to remember too what they did last night. So if you look at what Luka did and you look at what everybody else did, that's the game plan. Luka, you're gonna go off. We'll eat your production, kind of like we'll eat what you do. No doubt about it.
We'll let Finney Smith go off.
We'll eat 45 and 14. We'll eat 45 and 10. We'll eat that. But Finney Smith 8 points. Spencer Dinwiddie 11 points.
Joe Frick, what's his name?
The big guy Hardaway Jr. 10 points. We'll eat the 45 from you. We cool with that. And add that to the fact that we're not going to let. Not only are we not going to let these other guys get off, we're going to get off. So Leonard's going to go off. Paul George is going to go off. Reggie Jackson is going to go off. They're dirty work guys. Morris is going to shoot the long ball. Not only is Morris going to shoot the long ball, the Euro rim running, he's going to go off. So, and I also think that Ty Lue does a great job. I think Ty Lue does a great job at. I think Ty Lue does a great job at putting those guys in position, not only to score, but also to slow down the Dallas Mavericks. Excuse me, as a unit. I think that they did a great job at that. So when I think about the Dallas Mavericks, I think that Luka is definitely the guy. But this is who Dallas is. They are a one-man guy. They are a one-man team who has a high usage rate. And not only does he have a high usage rate, he's got a bunch of other guys around him who are solid. Now, is Spencer Dinwiddie a number 2 on a championship team? No,
not even number 3.
No, he is not. And I think that I do not think that.
Oh, yeah, what I'm saying, when I'm watching, they say, "I Luke, you want to do this pound the ball, step back 3? We'll let you have that." Yeah, none of y'all dudes could cover Kawhi. Paul, and so basically, I'm just saying, if they see them in the playoffs again, they're gonna lose once again.
And it's not even about them having to cover Kawhi more than what they're doing with Luka. Yeah. So if you watch the game, and I've said this to you a bunch of times, they make Luka guard.
Yep.
And Luka does not want to. I've said this to you 1,000 times. All Luka
wants to run back on the court and get the ball.
He wants to get back to the basketball. He is not guarding. No, he is not. And they exploit that.
Oh yeah. What he had like 4 fouls on Kawhi? I remember that Kawhi was attacking.
They make him guard, and that's the difference. He's in
foul trouble in OG. You notice he's the man. So when he on the bench, that league going up. So you got to put him back in the game.
Can't do anything with him. So
they just got to do something. That's why I tell you, man.
All right, brother. Yep. So y'all know what it is with the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not, the NBA app is really whack. And the reason why it's whack is because I'm trying to watch on League Pass, I'm trying to watch the game, and I'm wondering if I need to reinstall this app, and then install it again. Because this is garbage. It's just stalling. I can't even watch the game. I think I might need to reinstall this. This is super corny. So, the Rui trade is. I think it's a steal for the Lakers, no doubt about it. It gives them a transition player that they didn't have. It gives them a D&3 guy. It gives them a guy who can guard the 4 and the 5. Not only does it give them a guy who can guard the 4 and the 5, it also gives them another rotation guy who's going to give them good minutes off the bench. Prince, I do not hate Luka. You just love him more than I do. Understand, there's a difference. There's a difference between hating a guy and you loving him more than I do. You just love Luka more than I do. I don't hate Luka. You just love him more than I do. That's all that is. But my point is that team needs guys like that, right? That team needs guys like that, and because that team needs guys like that, he's going to help them. No doubt about that. He's going to help them. He immediately goes into their rotation. No doubt. You having the same issue too, Teddy? I just want to make sure it wasn't just me because, I got Xfinity in terms of Wi-Fi. So it's obvious that it's not my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is good, but this is a problem. I just wanted to make sure. I'm turning this off too. This is garbage. It ain't even working. Yeah. Garbage. Wonder if there's any. Anyway, and the reason why the Celtics struggle with the Magic is because of their front line. So I think that's one of the biggest problems that they have is their front line. Wagner, Banchero is 8-bit of 6'9". I think where the Celtics separate themselves is in the backcourt. because in the front court, we're just about matching you. I mean, Jason Tatum's going to win his matchup, no doubt about that. But Banchero's going to give them work. Wagner's going to give them work. I still think Mo Bamba should be better than what he is. Like, Mo Bamba should be on the all-league defensive team every year. He should be one of the better rim protectors in the game and one of the best rebounders in the game. He should be that. And he should be that on a consistent basis. But he's not, right? So guys like Bol and Banchero and Wagner, and they just got Isaac back, right? So that's another problem for the Celtics, because again, that front line is huge. And I think that the Celtics struggle with that, because the Celtics rotation guys coming off the bench aren't big bodies like that. I think that's where the difference is. So he should be, Jeremiah. He should be a better version of that. He should be a double-double guy. I'm sorry. Mo Bamba should be but he wants to stand out on the wing and shoot long balls and things like that. So I'm good on him. I'm straight. I might have to, when I think about League Pass, I might have to get rid of the app, and I might have to just go right to having it on cable, because, and I get League Pass, but I don't get it till after the All-Star break. One, it's cheaper, and two, the games are more significant. As good as they are during the regular season, they're more significant after the All-Star break. That's when I get them. So, to me too, Dave. To me too. And that's David, that's one of my problems with Mo Bamba. That's why I feel the way I do about him, because he should be better. He should be a lot better. And the reason why he's not a lot better is because I don't think he's that tough. I don't think he's that tough. That sounds like that's dangerous. Giannis making threes. What in the world is going on? That's all I got to say about that. So, the standings currently, what I'd like to talk about from you guys, which I haven't spoken about at all, which is interesting that nobody else brought it up, but nobody's talking about the Sacramento Kings. We should be talking about them way more than we do. Like, this team has slowly moved up in the standings. And not only have they slowly moved up in the standings, they've moved up in the standings where they're in third place now in the West. And I don't think they're a fluke. And the reason why I don't think they're a fluke is because I think everything that they have is what you need in order to win. Right? I think everything that they have is what you need in order to win. Everything. So with that being said, they got De'Aaron Fox, who I think is going to be an all-star. Sabonis, who's also close to a 20-10 guy, who I also think is going to be an all-star, right? You got your pro in Harrison Barnes. Not only do you have your pro in Harrison Barnes, you plucked away Herter from Atlanta. That was a big deal right there. Keegan Murray has been playing really good. He started out where he started out. Hold on for a second. I got to deal with this jerk off in my comments. Daddy, whatever it is, respect my Celtics. First and foremost, I don't need to respect anything. And if I'm the king of bad takes, everybody in this chat, can you tell this goofy how I feel about Jason Tatum? Can you please tell this goofy right here how I feel about Jason Tatum? If I'm disrespecting his Celtics, can you tell this goofy what I think about the Celtics? Can you relate to this goofy that I have in my chat, how I think about them? And at the time when I said that Siakam is better than Jaylen Brown, that's not ridiculous. We're talking about an all-NBA performer in Siakam. So get yourself together, my man. Get yourself together. We were talking about an all-NBA performer when I said that. So Get yourself together. Now, that might be true, Clutch. That might be true. They might be fool's gold. They might be. But from what I've seen, right? From what I've seen, they look like they're gonna make some noise. I ain't saying that they win in the NBA championship. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that they win in the NBA championship, but I do think that they're gonna make some noise. No doubt about that. Because again, they plucked away Herter. Keegan Murray is playing really good. I think at the trade deadline, and I'm gonna call it, I think that they're gonna get something for Richaun Holmes. I think that they're gonna get something for him because I think that he can really help another team. Like I love Richaun Holmes in Miami. As a dirty work guy, I love him in Miami. And you could probably get a late one for him, a two, maybe even a late one for him. I love him in Miami and everything that he does. No doubt about that. And Mike Brown may very well be the coach of the year this year. He may very well be the coach of the year this year. And the reason why is because he has those guys on the defensive end. That's where they've improved the most with the Sacramento Kings. They play defense, and they play defense for stretches. They do have one of the better offenses in the game. That's largely due to the game getting sped up. So what Mike Brown did was he brought that Golden State Warriors offense over to Sacramento, where the ball doesn't really stick to one guy's hands. Even though Fox is the primary ball handler, the ball doesn't really stick to his hands. A lot of guys get involved. Murray gets involved. Sabonis gets involved, right? Harrison Barnes gets involved. And they get involved. And not only do they get involved, we also get these dudes. We also get these dudes in the half court. They make other teams play defense. That's what Mike Brown, he brought that in from Golden State. So I think that that's a big deal. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to pay attention more. I'm going to pay attention more to Sacramento. Like you said, don't trust them because it's interesting you mentioned Minnesota because I had Minnesota as a top 5 team before the season started. Just so you know, they're only one game out the 5 spot. They're only one game out the 5 spot. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. Just one game. And I am paying attention to that, which is why I was asked, no, I'm not taking that back. I am not taking that back. Why are you talking to me like this is just something? Matter of fact, I'll tell you what. Let's do one better. Let's do one better. How about you come in here and say it to my face? How about that? Do that. I ain't taking back nothing. How about you come in here and let's talk about it? How about that? That's how we can get to the bottom of that. How about that? And they rolling, Lucas. Yes, they are. And when they get Cat back, I think they're going to be even better, right? I think when they get Cat back, I think they're going to be even better. I still have a problem with their ability to distribute. I do have a problem with that, and Rudy needs to get healthy too. So I think that's also an issue. I do believe that. So what up?
Hello?
What up?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I don't know how this works.
Very simply, you just talk into the microphone. That's it. We talking right now. Yep.
Okay. So, I'm a Cowboys fan, and you guys play really good. I wanted to know which defense you think would be more challenging for Brock Purdy, the Cowboys defense or the Eagles defense?
I think the Cowboys defense is the best defense that he's seen in the playoffs. I don't think he's going to see another defense better than that. That front four with the Cowboys, their pass rush, I don't think Philadelphia's pass rush is that good. Not only do I not think I don't think that their pass rush is that good. I don't think that their secondary, I don't think their secondary is as challenging. I think it's good, but I don't think it's as challenging. I think that Dallas defense is the best defense that Purdy has seen. I don't think he's going to struggle as much next weekend against Philadelphia. And I don't think he was that bad yesterday. In fact, I thought he was really good. Excuse me. Took care of the football. Didn't have any turnovers. Even though he didn't throw any touchdowns, didn't have any turnovers, and at no point did he kill us. So I think I'm good. I think we're good.
I think the Eagles will be more consistent than Dallas. They're always a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But what impressed you most about San Francisco yesterday?
what impressed me the most was, one, Brock Purdy's ability to take care of the football. Even when the offense or the pocket collapsed, he didn't make bad decisions. He would just throw the ball away. He didn't fumble the football. He didn't turn the football over. I also was impressed by how they pounded the Cowboys. You can see later on that I thought that right from the beginning, just keep running the football because this is going to open up the offense. And you saw the Cowboys eventually wear down. And I thought that was the difference in the game. And keeping that pressure on Dak. Dak is one of the most inconsistent guys outside the pocket. When you let Dak sit in that pocket, that's almost like any quarterback. If you let him sit in the pocket and throw, they're more than likely to make a good decision. But when you put pressure on them and Dak's ability to roll out of the pocket on the run going to the right, his head is moving, his head is spinning, and he's going to make a bad decision. That's who he is. That's who he is. So those are the things that impressed me the most about the 49ers yesterday.
I would say Kyle Shanahan's confidence in Brock Purdy was huge. It was absolutely huge in order to have the San Francisco 49ers come up with a win.
When I watch Brock, man, I've said this on countless panels that I've been on. Brock Purdy looks like, listen, y'all should have gave me the ball from the beginning. Forget Jimmy G, forget Trey. I should have been the one with the ball right from the beginning because this offense is tailor-made for me. And he doesn't have to do too much. And whatever he needs to do, he can do it. And I thought what opened up the offense yesterday was when George Kittle got implemented more. I was trying to figure out why they weren't going to him later. I'm like, why isn't George more involved in it? If you notice, the offense started to open up when they got George more involved in the game with those 5-yard slants, with those skinny posts to open up the offense. I thought that was the most impressive. I thought that was one of the most impressive things. And with Brock Purdy doing what he's doing, I said it already. I think it's a rematch from 2020 in the bowl game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I expected that rushing offense from San Francisco to obliterate the Dallas defense because that's always been their issues, and he stuck out pretty good. They needed Brock Purdy to beat them, and Brock Purdy stood up for the challenge.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely, he did. So, all right, brother. Good to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
No doubt.
Hey, what's up, OG?
What up?
I have 2 questions, if you don't mind. Is that good?
What you got?
All right. So my first question is, so ever since, for the Pelicans at least, ever since Zion and Brandon have been injured, they've kind of been slipping, and the Nuggets and Grizzlies they've taken over the conference pretty much, and you can even see the Kings rising up. So my question is, when they get Brandon back, do you think they can make up ground to at least secure a 3 spot?
Well, I think between 1 and 4 is separated by 8 games. So I think that one spot is almost sold. But I do think that they can make up some ground because I think from where the Lakers are, I think the Lakers are in 12th. I think from 12 to 5 is only separated by 3.5 games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's pretty bunched up in the Western Conference. So these guys aren't totally out. I think the issue that we having when you get Brandon back, when you get Zion back, you're still a lead guard away from challenging in the Western Conference.
Yeah,
there's a reason why CJ was so good in Portland. The reason why he was so good in Portland is because he played off the basketball. Yeah. That's where his strength is, to play off the ball. He's a 2 guard. When you give him the basketball, now you're telling him to create for other people. You're taking away his most lethal weapon, which is his ability to score off the ball. So I think a vet lead guard is what you're missing.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I think ideally what happens is that when they get this lead guard, then they move CJ to the bench and he becomes an insane 6-man.
No, keep just move him over to the 2. You don't have to. He doesn't have to start. I mean, he doesn't have to go to the bench. No, he's playing the lead guard. Just move him right over to the 2. Alvarado goes to the bench. That's your spark off the bench. Him. I don't think Troy Murphy doesn't start.
No, he doesn't.
Right. So him, Murphy, that's the backbone of your bench. Okay. Those guys are the guys that are going to be the backbone of your second unit. So he does not have to. You don't move CJ to the bench. No, just move him over to the 2 guard. That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
What was I going to ask? Yeah. Do you also, random question, but where do you rank Dennis Rodman all time?
Dennis is definitely a top 60 player all time.
Wow, 60.
Yeah. He's definitely a top 60 player, maybe even top 50.
Yeah, because I think this conversation that he's not like top 75 or not top 100 is because people really overvalue offense, and they don't view offense and defense at the same level. Or like if someone's really good at one specific thing, they should be just as valued as scoring. But
well, first of all, what you just said is exactly that. So think about those Bulls teams before Dennis Rodman got on with the Bulls. The reason why those Bulls teams were what they were because of guys like Ho Grant. We ain't winning without Horace Grant. If you don't have a dirty work guy like Horace Grant, the reason why those Laker teams in the 80s were winning, because we ain't winning without AC Green. The reason why that Miami Heat team, when everybody talks about LeBron this and Chris Bosh that and Dwayne Wade this, we ain't winning without Udonis Haslem. It's not happening.
Yeah.
So to have a guy like Dennis Rodman, those Piston teams aren't winning without him. He's the difference in what they're doing, right? He's the dirty work guy. He's the rebounder. He's the defender. Every championship team, as good as your wing perimeter players or your perimeter offensive players are, you need a guy that's going to come in the huddle and say, quote, can you score the rest of the points? I can score the rest of the points. Okay, number 24, I'll deal with him. Don't worry about him for the rest of the night. I'll deal with him. Or we need a big rebound. I got the rebounds. You do this. So that's who Dennis was. Dennis was the guy who did everything else. Because at the end of the day, we need that guy, Marcus Smart, Udonis Haslem, AC Green, Dennis Rodman. Who's after everybody that's scoring the basketball and looking pretty doing it? Who's the guy that's diving on the floor for loose balls? Who's the guy that's defending? Who's doing that? Because if we don't have that, we're not winning. So, all right, brother. Good to talk.
Right. Thanks.
We definitely need that. I'm a huge fan. Like a lot of people that I listen to talk about, quote unquote role players. So just so you know, everybody is a role player. I still stand on that logic. Jordan was a role player. Scottie Pippen was a role player. James is a role player. Dwayne Wade is a role player. Chamberlain, Jabbar, Magic. These guys are all role players. They play a role. It depends on what your role is. I'm the primary ball handler. That's my role. I'm the primary distributor. That's my job. I'm the bucket getter on the box. That was Jabbar. That's my job. KD, I'm the bucket getter. That's my job. That's my role. That's what I do. So everybody is a role player on some level. Every last one of them. I think we get role players screwed up with a guy that's less than, when everybody on the crew plays a role. Everybody does. Now, some guys' roles are different than others, but I still have a role. I mean, Jordan had a role. Dennis Rodman had a role. LeBron James has a role. Steph Curry had a role. Klay Thompson had a role. Draymond has a role. Kawhi Leonard has a role. Everybody has a role. Everybody has a job to do. Everybody does. What up?
Yo, what up, OG? Hey, I got two questions, right? I'm a Packers fan. I got two questions. One is I got a big problem with the way Aaron Rodgers is going about it. I understand he's like, what is it, like his 18th season, I believe.
Yep.
But I don't like the fact that he's like always doing this. Okay, I'm gonna sit it out. I'll wait until after or when the season starts or whatever to give my answer, right? I'm not a fan of that. I feel like we should go kind of move on from him and get something for him, even though we'll take the $40 million cap hit.
Yeah.
I think we should move on from him and give the ropes to Jordan Love. What's your thoughts on that, man? Like, I feel like if you build a big enough defense or a better enough defense, we should kind of be able to squeeze. I wouldn't say squeeze into the playoffs. I mean, I feel like if we have a really good defense, I heard that was the plan this year, was to have a good enough defense to where it would give the offense enough stability to be able to move into the playoffs, and we'll go from there. What's your thoughts on that as far as the Packers go?
Well, first of all, you signed him to an extension. You didn't sign him to an extension to eat $40 million. You did not do that.
Right.
So that's terrible business. You signed him to an extension because you thought he was going to be there long term. Now, with that being said,
exactly.
I'm sure that moving on from Devontae Adams wasn't part of that, because I think that he would have looked at this just a little bit differently. Did he get traded? Did he sign before that happened or after that happened?
He signed. So basically, when he signed the deal, he had no intention that Devontae Adams was going to walk.
Right. So he signed that before they moved on from Devontae. Right. So had they moved on from Devontae before he signed, he wouldn't have signed that deal.
Right. I don't think so either.
No, he would not have signed that deal. I can't see your boys taking the cap hit. Now, I will ask you this, because I've seen this movie before. Don't forget, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre 4 years.
Right.
What's the plan moving forward with Jordan Love? What you spent the first round pick on him. So do you have to find out who this guy is? I mean, you got to find out at some point who he is. Doesn't he have to get a season under his belt? How many more years is he going to sit behind Aaron Rodgers before you go, okay, let's give this guy a legit shot? Like I said, you spent the first round pick on him, right? So you still gotta bolster your receiving core. Everybody knows that you still got to do that, because the guys that you had, they were young guys, and not only were they young guys, they were very inefficient. So you got to take care of that. But Aaron is taking up a lot of the money. Aaron is taking up a lot of the money. So you're not just going to cut him and take the cap hit. No, you're not going to do that. What you will do is, if we're going to move off of him, we will trade him.
Right. Yeah. Right.
We'll absolutely do that. We'll trade him, and you could probably get something good for him too.
Right. I believe that we would still take a cap hit though if we traded him. But
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure that's true, because I don't think that you would have to eat any of that money if you moved off of him. If you cut him, yes, but if you traded him, I don't think so. No,
cutting would be stupid. Yeah,
if you cut him, yeah, that's something completely different. So,
and then my next question: who's your NBA Finals favorite as far as matchup goes?
I'm not as confident 2 months ago as I am today, but I still think that Milwaukee is the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. As much as I see and as much as I love what Boston is doing, right? As much as I love what Philadelphia is doing, how much better they've gotten, how much better James Harden is playing, I'm just having a difficult time. Once Middleton gets back, and I can have a gauge on how healthy he's going to be and what he's going to do in terms of that offense with Drew Holiday playing the way Drew's been playing. And I think that Grayson Allen needs to step his game up, because I think he's got one of the best jobs in the NBA. If you think about it, what's my job? Knock down open shots. That's it.
Right.
That's all I got. I'm playing with Giannis. I don't have that big of a role. All I got to do is knock down open shots and be a solid defender. I mean, it's not many guys who have to do that, and they got one of the better rotations in the league. I think Bobby Portis is the best rotation player in the game, and I think that Middleton is the difference. If he could come back and he can give them solid minutes, I think that they got a legit shot in winning the NBA championship. And out west, I still think the road to the NBA championship goes through Golden State, but that Denver team looks like they serious.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. All right, brother.
OG.
Know where to find me at. What up, Ho?
Oh, what up, man?
What's up, brother?
Not too much, bro. I'm just watching the Celtics and the Magic game.
I was trying to watch it on League Pass, but this app is so stupid and it keeps sticking, and it won't. It's crazy. I don't. And my Wi-Fi is good because I'm talking to you, but on the TV, I don't understand what's going on.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, this is why I like the Magic this year, because I knew they were going to be. I thought they were going to be competitive. They've let me down a little bit. They got a lot of pieces, but I don't know if they got the right coach or something's missing with them. But they got a lot of talent.
Well, you got to remember too, Ho, they're young, right? So Bol is based. This is his first year in a featured role, right? Yeah. Not only is this his first year in a featured role, you got a Rook in Banchero. Wagner, this is his second year, so they got a lot of kids down there, right? Anthony. I'm not sure what his future is. Is he the lead guard of the future with that crew? But I think they got the right pieces. It's just a matter of letting this thing develop.
Yeah, I agree. I've been to here. I'm in Florida, as you know, and I've been to a few Magic games with my father. We used to go to a lot of games, and it's a nice stadium. It's a totally different atmosphere than Miami. It's totally different. But
I will tell you this, if the Sacramento Kings put this kid, Rashawn Holmes, on the trade block, I think he's perfect for the Miami Heat.
Oh yeah,
a dirty work guy.
Yeah,
he's not. It's not that he's wasting away up in Sacramento. It's not that at all. It's just that I think the time there is run out, and I think him in Miami, I think he's the perfect dirty work guy, rim protector, rebounder, hustle guy. I think he would fit perfect with the Miami, and he would come cheap too.
Yeah, you're down in Miami, right? I mean,
I'm not that far from. I'm not that far from. I'm like an hour north, so I'm not that far from there.
Cool, yeah, because I think you hit it. I'm afraid of that team. I like what Victor Oladipo is bringing to the table right now. I really like what he's doing.
But if you think about it, this is the first season since was it 19 before he got hurt. This is the first season that he's been actually healthy. Yeah. And not just healthy, he's been able to play for extended periods of time and actually get his legs up under him. Like last year, he wasn't really playing that much, so you couldn't really get a gauge on him. This year, he's in the lineup and he's getting consistent minutes. So you're seeing that there's still flashes there with Vic.
Yeah. I've been a big fan of his game, even when he was like a rookie. But down in Orlando, I've seen him play. He's just he's got a little bit of that D weight in him. He plays on both sides of the ball. So, that's pretty much what I got. But a little bit of football. I mean, I'm a Raider fan. What do you think the Raiders need this offseason? They're going to need a quarterback, right? I mean.
Well, think about this. Jacobs, first team All-Pro.
Yeah.
You got one of the best tight ends in the game. You got one of the best defenses in the game.
Yep.
Where's the issue?
I don't know.
At the quarterback.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
That's where the issue is, at the QB. And I've always said this. You are only as good as your backup quarterback.
Yep.
Your lead quarterback goes down, it could wreck you. My 49ers, if Purdy doesn't turn out like this could have sunk us.
Yep.
So,
but you got a great coach. You guys got a great coach.
That's important too. Now, I think Josh McDaniels is a good coach. I think the problem that we having is I think that it's early. And not only do I think it's early, I think it's a mess that he had to clean up. So I think it's going to take some time, but the focus right now has to be the quarterback. It has to be, because I think you got everything. You got an all-pro running back.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you got an all-pro tight end. So, and your defense is solid. So I don't think that the Raiders are that far away. I don't.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Yep. I'm also a Jaguar fan, but I like the Raiders too.
And the best thing, I said this to you. You and I had this conversation. My grandmother told me, anybody can train a secretary. You can screw them up too. And Urban Meyer was about ready to screw this kid up. The best thing that ever happened to him was that Urban Meyer got out of there, because he was going to wreck this kid, Trevor Lawrence. He was going to straight wreck him. I'm so glad he got out of there.
Me too, man. I'm so happy about that. So happy.
Yes. All right, brother. All right, you know where to find me at. What up?
Hey, what's up, OG?
What up?
You hear me?
Yep. What's going on?
I was just calling in to see. You just mentioned about Dennis Rodman probably being top 50. Do you think, based on that logic, people like Ben Wallace or Dikembe Mutombo should have at least made top 75?
I don't think Mutombo did enough. And the reason why 3 or 4 defensive players of the year, but like, what did it translate to? Like, when I think about Ben Wallace was the anchor on a championship defense. Dennis Rodman, the teams that he was on when he was in his prime, these were championship defenses, and they were anchored. He was the anchor of them. So you think about those Detroit, the bad boys. As good as Mahorn was, right? As good as Bill Laimbeer was, Dennis Rodman was the anchor defensively on that crew. So then you move to when he was with the Bulls. As good as Scotty was, as good as Jay was, Dennis Rodman, he was the thing that they were missing, that defender, that rebounder. And that's
true. But when you talk about lists like top 75, I know you can't take away team accomplishments, but I kind of put more of a premium on what they're able to do individually when it comes to lists like that. Right. So obviously Dennis Rodman won more than those guys.
Right.
But as far as defensive ability, I feel like they're comparable to what he can provide. Maybe not the rebounder. He's probably the best rebounder ever. But like, especially somebody like Ben Wallace. Like, I don't get how he didn't make it based off of his individual ability, but someone like Dennis Rodman could.
I'm glad you brought that up. And the reason why I'm glad you brought that up is because it's the same idea with a better player and a guy who plays the best. Like, so where is the separation? Because you could be a better player than somebody and get outplayed. So where is the separation? The separation comes in the production. So when I think about what Ben Wallace did, I mean, we're talking about a dude. You can make an argument for Ben Wallace as a defender. I think Ben Wallace, you can make an argument he's a top 10 defender all time. I think Dennis Rodman is the second greatest defender in NBA history behind Olajuwon. But with that being said, Ben Wallace anchored a Detroit Piston team that was in the Eastern Conference Championship, 5 straight years? That's a huge deal, right? That's a huge deal for a guy who at 6'8", 6'9", was going up against guys like that. Well, Dennis did the same thing, only except Dennis was a little bit more versatile. Dennis guarded lead guards. Dennis guarded on the wing. Dennis guarded big guys like Shaq, like Ben Wallace did. And not only did he do that, it translated a little bit more. This is where the production comes in. It translated a little bit more to wins, as opposed to with Ben Wallace, it didn't. I think that's where the separation comes in.
Okay, here's my last part, and I'll let you go. So do you believe someone like Bill Walton, I know he won a championship and he was an MVP, but his prime was way too short. Do you feel like he deserved to be top 75?
I think that he deserved to be top 50 at the time, but
because without that chip, he's Derrick Rose to me. Derrick Rose is one of my favorites, but
I think he deserved to be top 50 at the time, and Bill Walton is one of the best college basketball players ever. So his basketball career as a whole, it's been phenomenal. But the fact that he didn't do it long enough, I got a huge problem with that. I'm not
got the nod. Yeah,
I'm not doubting who Bill Walton was when he was healthy as a player, and I will never doubt that. I care about I care about when you did something, I care about who you did it against, and I care about how long you did it. And when I think about Bill Walton, it's difficult for me to have him in when. I think he's top 75, but I think he's on the downside of the top 75, simply because I think he's on the other side of the top set. Not on the other side. I think he's on the bottom side of the top 75, not on the top side of it. No.
Okay, because I definitely replace him with Dwight Howard in the instant if I could.
Well, Dwight Howard it's obvious the way that they went when you talk about
that was politics. That was politics.
I don't know if it was politics more than I thought. I think that they factored in winning more than anything. I do. I think they factored in because if they didn't, there's no way Anthony Davis is on that crew. No way.
Oh, exactly. Nor Damian Lillard.
Yeah, no way. So, all right, brother. Good to talk to you.
That's all I got.
Yep.
What up? Yo, OG, what up?
What up?
I got a question now. Do you think Kevin Durant can be the greatest scorer of all time? Or is he maybe?
I do not think he's the greatest scorer of all time. I think he's one of the 5 greatest scorers of all time, though.
Where would you put him exactly?
At 7, you said? Did you say at 7?
No. I said.
Where would I put him?
Exactly.
So I got Jordan, James. Who do I have? I got Jordan, James.
LeBron James.
Yes, LeBron James. No doubt about that.
At 2.
Yes, no doubt about that. Jordan, James, Bryant, Jabbar. I think I got KD at 5. Yeah, I think I got KD
Bryant over Kevin Durant.
I think I got KD at 4, or maybe it's the other way around. I think I got KD at 4 and I got Bryant at 5.
I don't know because I was thinking last time because I look at KD. I mean, this dude he's like 7 feet tall, and he can do anything. And on top, I think this year he's shooting like 57% from mid range, which is crazy. Just crazy.
Which is I can't fight that. Now, just so you know, he did the same thing last year. And I actually made a post about this on my other account on TikTok, where Kevin Durant, right around like at the end of December, I believe it was at the end of December, the Brooklyn Nets was in second place, and KD was shooting 57, 55, 80 at that point.
That's crazy.
He was doing the same thing. That's why I wasn't impressed when I saw him going 60, 40, 90. I wasn't impressed with that because I'm like, yo, he did the same thing last year. What I care about is this has to translate into them winning, because this is why did KD come to Brooklyn? KD came to Brooklyn for them to win. He didn't come for buckets and stats. He could have stayed in Oklahoma City for that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, because I don't know what happened to the Celtics last year. Till this day, it's like, I don't know. I mean, he can do anything on the court, but against the Celtics, it was like, I don't know, like he wasn't even trying really.
Well, it's not that he wasn't trying. I thought that they did a good job at number one, keeping the ball away from him. So any great scorer, if you keep the ball away from him, you throw him off rhythm. Yeah, and I thought they did a really good job at that. Add that to the fact that they did an excellent job at being physical with him and jumping him when he had the ball to also throw him off rhythm. So I think that was the difference in the series. No doubt about that. So, yep. All right, brother. Good to talk to you.
All right, see you, man.
Yep. All right, guys. It's about that time for me. It was good to see y'all tonight. as always, I will be back soon. You know where to catch me at. You can catch me here on Monday nights. You can catch me on a panel on Tuesday nights. You can catch me here on Wednesday nights, and you can catch me on Fluent on back here on Thursday night with Fluent, myself, and Halftime Haley. Y'all know y'all know that we get busy, and this is what we do, man. It's basketball season, and in this basketball season, this is what we talk about. We get down and dirty. So I will be on TikTok tonight with Tone. We're gonna go at 9 o'clock, and if you're around, I'll see you then. But until then, take it light, but take it.